Oh, welcome to Daytime Ottawa here on Rogers TV. Thanks so much for joining us. My goodness, it is an absolute iconic place on Preston Street in Little Italy, and many people just call it PGI because I call it that too because I can't pronounce it as beautifully as my next guest. I am joined by Joe Calabro, pastry chef extraordinaire. Welcome, Joe. Great to have you here.
Welcome. Thank you.
What an incredible history. You're just telling me in May you're celebrating 44 years. I want you to take me back to the beginning because you were sharing a great story off the air with me here.
The beginning was very simple. I mean, when we opened, it's still a family-run operation, but the first 3 to 5 years, people had to know what gelato was and cappuccino and lattes. Mm-hmm. So basically, what happened we opened at the right time, right place, and we had our first write-up with the Ottawa Journal. At the same time, which were three of them. The lady did the write-up on 3 of us, which was Constantine Bakery, which was down the street at Richmond Road, and then it was Bronson Bakery,
right,
and myself, which is Pasticceria, Gelateria, Italiana. So that was a big kickoff, and as you know, people were going to Europe or working for a government in Europe.
Right.
So basically, whether they were there for 3, 4, 5 years, they got used to that culture, espresso, coffee, cappuccino. Mm-hmm. So when they came back, they were looking for that.
Right.
So we were there, and that's everything else after took off from there.
It took a little while, too, for people to really come on board with gelato because they didn't even know what it was, because you were the first to bring it to Ottawa, right?
Yes, and the history behind it is because we were the first ones, basically we had a big write-up in the Citizen, and usually it used to come out on Wednesday.
Okay.
In the Citizen, all the food section. So by Friday we had health inspectors because the way it was written, it's light, it's low butter fat content, which is from 4% to about 8%.
Right.
The gelato compared with ice cream, regular ice cream, for us. So basically, the way they wrote it, it was a little bit lighter. So we had inspectors. So basically, in those days, we were using the spatula traditionally, like they do in Italy. So basically, they looked at it and they said, "Well, you can't use that." What do you mean? So because you got to use the scoop.
So, really?
Yeah. So
that
basically,
seems crazy to me.
Well, because they don't know
it goes back
it goes back 40 years. Mm-hmm. So I started using the scoop. So basically now everyone else is using the spatula. So I'm still using the scoop.
Are you really?
Yes.
So you keep that tradition, right?
Tradition.
Yeah,
basically, it's, if you want 2 flavors, you can't because it doesn't fit in that scoop. So
right.
That's basically it.
You offer an array of products. You brought some examples here, but before we do a little show and tell, let's just talk about, I imagine you've grown quite a bit over the years in what you offer to people.
Well, we did. I mean, we do a whole selection of dessert, but also is because of COVID. Prior to that, we were doing breakfast, lunch meals, but because of that, we kind of switched it. Okay. So now we're strictly desserts for it. So, which is great, more time for me and to create more. Yeah. So I brought back chocolates because before I was doing chocolates. So I brought back chocolate bars.
These are
so that's
nice.
Different chocolates. So that's the ruby, that's gold, and then you have milk white and dark chocolate. So we do that. We do those. We have them on display, so we sell those and. Various chocolate for Easter,
I think you're pretty
Christmas.
Famous for these, Joe.
These are famous cannolis, so Sicilian cannolis. So basically, what happens is when they come in, customers come in, we have everything prepped. So when they come in, they just ask for that. We fill them. It takes a few seconds to fill them up, very fresh. So it stays. Delicious. The crust will stay. So when you eat them, the crunch.
That's all of this made in house too,
that's
right?
Correct,
I mean, that's the key to your, I think, to your success.
This year is, they call up cake pops.
Oh yeah.
So we call them cake truffles.
Nice.
So basically, similarity. Instead of having the stick, we use them as truffles. So everything is finished like a truffle. Soy cake. So this is various cookies that we have a selection of. We call them scoop cookies. So that's red velvet, Nutella, and chocolate chip walnut. So we have a variation.
Yeah, I love how you do that with almost anything that you do, right?
Yeah.
You do a great variation
So
of
this is
everything.
some fruit tarts that we have a selection. So we also have a selection of that. So we do it on a daily basis. So that's a sliced strawberry, kiwi, and mandarin. The other one is mixed berry mandarin. So with the pastry cream.
Yeah.
As there's two versions. The cream is the same, but two versions. Europeans call it pastry cream.
Okay.
North American call it custard. So if you
Oh,
want to,
really? I didn't know there was a
It's
different.
the
Okay.
same thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
basically, is if you say pastry cream, you might say, well, I want custard. Well, it's the same thing.
Right, right.
So that's the variation. And then this one here
Here, I'll grab
is
that one.
that's fudge. I just introduced fudge.
Oh, nice.
So variation, trying to get a line
Looks like
going.
a pistachio,
That's
perhaps
pistachio,
here, yeah?
white chocolate. That's matcha tea.
Oh,
There's a
nice.
chocolate. So there's Nutella. So it's a selection. So we'll see how that kicks off.
Joe, I have to ask you about Preston Street in general. What a revitalization, happened down there. I know it must have been difficult while the construction was, of course, happening, and of course you had the pandemic to go through. But how vibrant is Little Italy in that area now?
Well, with the construction, we were 2 years. They were
Yeah.
supposed to be extended for 3 years, but they did it in 2 years, which was, everyone went through a hard time, but also is we thank our customers, loyal customers, that, they're still there. They're getting older, they're older, some, they're now with us, but, in those days, they used to come 7 days a week.
Yeah.
I still have customers, they're there 7 days a week in the morning, timing, 9 o'clock, coffee,
For the cappuccino?
cappuccino and read the paper, and so that is what keeps us also going. At the same time, we're doing wholesaling because
Oh, are you?
in those
Okay.
days we're supplying hotels and stuff like that. So that's the extra
Right.
for us. So it kind of we're.
You must have new generations too coming in, right?
Well,
I know
that's
you've
what
had
we're-
all
that's
those
what we're
customers.
pushing because now it's
Yeah.
all about Instagram, tweets, all that. So
Well, your place is probably, when it comes to taking photos, what a great place to
Yeah.
take some Instagram photos
yeah,
for sure.
so basically that's the whole concept. So, this is a third generation that we're going through.
Yeah.
And, we're trying for the younger generation to come in also at the same time. Like you said before, everything's done from scratch
Yeah.
in-house. I still have hands-on. I have my staff, which is
course.
with me, front and back, which loyal, so you need that. So basically, the concept is you need the quality, you need the product, you need the staffing. So everything has to come into aspect in order for the individual coming in feels at home, because that's your
Yeah,
home.
yeah.
So it's,
That's a big part of your philosophy, right? You want people to feel like, you're coming into your own home.
Well,
As you
it's-
just described, people are coming in 7 days a week to read their newspaper, say hi to Joe,
Yeah.
have a cappuccino.
Well, the same thing is, what do you call it? They walk in, they're your guests.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you can, not because they're coming in, you walk in by the back door, you leave them alone. So,
You've always treated people
that's
that way.
that's the
Yeah.
whole thing. So it's
Well, congratulations. 44 years coming up
Yeah.
in May, and I can't encourage people enough at home. Visit them. They're located at 200 Preston Street there in Little Italy. We'll be back with more right after this.